So first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce you to this project that it is now practically 25 years old. So, and also thank you for everybody who is attending this, and especially my friends from Spain. My name is Juan-Pablo González. I am an electrical engineer, and I am interested in the UFO subject since I was 12. So that means that I will not say my age, but it was 50 years ago. So I am going to speak for myself. No, I am not on behalf of nobody else. Eduardo was, before the presentation, I was talking with Eduardo regarding the existence or non-existence of formal UFO groups in Spain. And okay, we think that there is only one left. I don't see here is the CEI. I don't think is anybody from them here. But the rest of Spain, there are not organized groups. So differently from other presentations from Germany and from Denmark, and so what I am going to tell you is just my opinion. It is a work from more than one person. Several of them are also here now. But this is not the work of an organization. It is practically personal job, and as such, the responsibility of what it is made, good or bad, is completely mine. So I will make my presentation. I am a little bit impressed, I have to admit, because I know that several of you are very skilled persons in computer science, and especially in databases and so. As I've said, I am an electrical engineer, so my capabilities regarding computers are at the user level, practically, a little bit more. So what I will expose is a practical experience, a simple experience. I do not want to compete with all the big databases you are working with, but I imagine that we share several problems, and perhaps, of course, I can learn from you, and hopefully maybe you can learn something from me, even if it is very little. So I don't want to pass more time. This is my presentation. These are the contents. First of all, I will give you an idea of the philosophy behind this project. After that, a little bit of history, small little history of this project, that it's 25 years now, 24, I think. The utility that I think what is this worth for, some statistics, preliminary statistics, but just not talking only about databases and structures and personal experiences, but something about the results from the database, and some displaying tools that I have prepared in order to visualize the contents. And finally, the future tasks. This is something that is only introduced, of course, and I hope we can talk about this after the presentation. Okay, what's the philosophy behind CUCO? Well, first of all, what is CUCO? CUCO is a database for Spanish, Portuguese, and Andorran cases, UFO cases. It stands for Unified Catalog of UFO Cases. And it was intended exclusively as a documentary source without taking sides regarding anything. My idea was to make it as neutral as possible, just to be able to get the contribution of most person interested in the subject, whatever his opinions and his positions were. So it doesn't take sides specifically about the existence or not of a phenomenon not currently recognized by science as the cause of the cases, or the adequacy and sufficiency or not of the explanations that are proposed for every case in the database. The responsibility of this explanation lies solely in the authors of them. CUCO aims to be useful for those who wish to study a specific case, and also to people or researchers that want to make an analysis of altogether statistically, and from any point of view, either physical or psychosocial. But that's very important. Users of the catalog should be aware that it is a collection of information and testimonies generated by very heterogeneous stimuli, and even in some cases without any stimuli at all. I am talking about frauds and about psychological diseases. So here you can find everything: bad cases, good cases, if there is something good or bad in a case. First of all, a little history. The origin of CUCO was on 2001, and it progressed through several steps. First, the compilation of catalogs, then the structure definition, continue after that merging and consolidation of the data. This finished as a first approach at 2005, and since then till today we have in the growing phase of the catalog. But what were regarding catalogs before CUCO? Well, and in that case, I am perhaps Vicente can correct me in any moment, because he knows much better than me this first step. First catalogs were compiled specifically for making specific studies. I think that the first one, perhaps the first interesting one, I mean, was in 1970, was made by an organization that no longer exists, which was Eridani, and two engineers, which were Ares and Lopez, which made a catalog for studying the UFO wave of 1968-1969, which is still today the most important one in Spain. Very soon after that, Vicente Juan Ballester and Valé presented his study Type 1 phenomena in Spain and Portugal, a study of 100 Iberian landings. Well, this is the beginning of the relationship between UFO case history in Spain and Portugal. So this is something that traces back to this moment. And this catalog, this very first catalog, evolved and grew and diversified into different ones, like 1987 Lani van Nelib, also with Ballester and Fernandez, and the new cut, which is after the case history of Lani van Nelib. And also another catalog remarkable was Ramirez and Barbero, who made a specific catalog for studying another UFO wave in 1974. But during all this time, and also till at least till 1989, Centro de Estudios Interplanetarios in Barcelona developed a catalog, which was also an Iberian catalog, but that's the meaning of CATIB, which was compiling everything they have at the UFO files of the entity. Simultaneously, also, there was a project named Catares, led by the RNC, Red Nacional de Corresponsales, which tried to make to compile catalogs from every region in Spain with different degrees of success. Most successful one I think was the Andalusian catalog. Also, there was several thematic catalogs, and you will see again Ballester, Ballester, Ballester. You know their catalogs and their work that it is still developing today with the PhotoCAD for photographic cases, which is worldwide. LONI for lone humanoids, I mean without a machine, and UFO together them. The AeroCAD is a catalog for UFOs seen from aircrafts or airports or air bases in Spain. And also MilliCAD, PseudoCAD are the two sides of the coin of a catalog made by Ballester and Plana for cases with military implication. MilliCAD is UFO cases, PseudoCAD is IFO cases. And apart from that, multiple regional catalogs from individual researchers, as the late Matías Morey for the Balearic Islands, Ricardo Campo for the Canary Islands. Canary Islands are not included in the Iberian catalogs as they geographically correspond to Africa. And I'm afraid that also it was the same for some islands of Portugal, and several other catalogs from other researchers. I have included here this front page of the CATIB because you can read at the last row, it is personal and cannot be transmitted to anybody else. So this is a little bit the situation when CUCO starts, when the project started. What's the origin for CUCO? In June 2001, Ignacio Cabria, which was not able to be here, he has apologized for this, sent a message to the Ortogenia mailing list, which was managed by the Fundación Anomalía, which is also no longer in the working. And he was complaining about the lack of updated Spanish case history catalogs that would allow general studies on the subject to be carried out. And he asked for something very simple, just in order to be made in just a very short time. 3 requirements: simple data set, just with the location, date, and source of information, not separating UFOs and IFOs, which will have led to continuous discussions. And the way for making this, just merging all the digital catalogs, just putting everything together. As you know, of course, this is not as simple as that. And of course, the time required to make this was quite longer than this. Well, at the beginning, several researchers of the Fundación Anomalía contributed with their catalogs. And in the beginning, there were just six catalogs, which was the Balearic Islands one, the one from the section in Madrid from the CEI, 2 Andalusian ones, and another Iberian catalog from Pedro Ojalvo. Well, here you have a number of cases for each catalog. I am not boring with this, but the question is that somebody asked for a volunteer to make this job, and well, I was there, and I volunteered to make the structure, just the structure of the catalog. And we have to give a name to this, and it was by votation. Sorry about that, because somebody doesn't like this name of CUCO. This sounds sometimes funny, but okay, it was democracy. It was the decision of the majority. And this is the way the project started. It started in a not very clever way, I have to admit, we were trying to be practical. So we didn't propose or studied how should it be, what fields should it include, what is important, what it isn't. We took what we have. That's the only thing. And sometimes when you see the final structure, you may say, okay, these two fields are overlapping, and I missed this field or this type of field because it's very interesting. Probably I agree. But okay, that's the reason for telling you all the history of the catalog, and that these are the consequences of that. So Portuguese and Andorran cases were included because some of the catalogs, the source catalogs, also included them. And I do not want that any single bit of information was lost in the merging. And you will see that even this meeting is entitled merging of Portuguese and Spanish catalogs. Sorry about that. There is no pure Portuguese catalog merged. We have made some attempts. We have asked some researchers, but till now we haven't succeeded in getting fully Portuguese catalogs. So this is a problem of CUCO. Portuguese cases are underrepresented, so we cannot compare Spanish with Portuguese cases because it was not fair. Okay, even if we took what we have, of course there were some fields, some common fields, the most important ones: location, date, time, and the sources. And we propose an standardization for them, because if not, it was impossible to merge the catalogs. But just these cases. Other fields, such as duration, proposed explanation and author, that is very important, number of witnesses, typology, evidence, characteristics of what was observed, color, sound, speed, are included, but most of them are blank because most catalogs do not have this information. So we have the structure, but sometimes we lack the data. The structure was implemented in something so high level as Excel. And at the end, we have 107 fields currently. And new catalogs may add new fields because they may have different information. Talking about groups, we have 4 control fields, 9 date and time fields, 8 location fields, 27 information sources. This is a crime if I am talking as a computer scientist, but I am not. And it is practical even at a high cost of memory space. But okay, that's the way it is. 5 fields for case identification, 2 for witnesses, 12 for the description of the phenomenon. And also there are some very, very specific fields depending on the catalog that it is included. As such, the structure was defined in December 2002. And then when the structure in our hands, the expectations, or perhaps I should say my expectations, that's my fault, grew. And I thought that perhaps developing a unified catalog at the service of all the UFO researchers, or at least the ones from the Anomaly Foundation, would reduce the duplication of research efforts. And we will be able to separate the compilation tasks from the data analysis tasks. And my arguments, my reasons were not a single bit of information from your original catalogs has been lost. All of them are on CUCO too. So you can start working with CUCO and forget about your old catalogs. That's very, very childish supposition from my part, from my side. Now I see, but who knows, maybe in the future. Another one was that the traceability should be maintained just in case there were some problem with one of the catalogs, to be very easily remove all the cases from this catalog, perhaps if his author doesn't want this information to be made public or whatever. And here I started to think that this is something that can have a continuity in China. But of course, the expectations grew and the difficulties too. There was some reluctancy from the authors of the catalogs to share their work. I think it's completely understandable. I am not criticizing anything. Questions about how should be the level of the dissemination of this job. Should the database be public or should be restricted? And in that case, what should be restricted and whom should be users from that? It was necessary to protect the intellectual protection of the database, and something that it's very material, but for me was very important, that is CATIB, which was the largest catalog of all the assistant ones, was not in digital form. It was just paper. And I have made tries with OCR, but it didn't work. Perhaps today it was easier and can be made, and also with artificial intelligence tools, but at the moment, this was made just by hand and took a long time. And after that, at this moment, Vicente Juan also contributed with his own catalogs and helped a lot, facilitating the donation of those from other researchers, not only in Spain, but also in other countries. I want to remember here Larry Hatch, which is no longer with us, and also was a great help and a great friend from this catalog. And suddenly the number of catalogs grew and many more were added. I am not going to bore you by reading everything. You will have this, and if you have some curiosity, I will give the information. But as you can see, the number of cases grow and grow and grow. And the latest one, added 5,000 new cases that I am still merging with CUCO. At this moment, I think that there are some 800 cases left. So this is a long effort. Problems. First problem, what is a UFO case? It is not the same for every catalog. I will explain this a little bit later. Secondly, the discrepancies in the key fields, date and location. There were differences for, I imagine that people who has worked with catalogs find same problems. For example, coding differences. I hate catalogs that says that when I do not know which is the number of the month of the day of the month, I put 1. And when it is 1, it is 1. So, and similarly with the month, if I do not know the month, it is 1. It is January. These are coding differences, but makes everything more difficult. Of course, there are uncertainties but this is something that is inherent to the case or to the source information. Of course, there are mistakes, and there are even, I say errors. I do not want to say lies, deliberate errors by some researchers that try to avoid that somebody else reinvestigate their cases, and they change their key data as location and date in their reports. And from my side, well, the original information sources not always was available for me when I was trying to check if two different records correspond to the very same case or they were different cases. So the way I managed this was defining a status field, very simple one, that says that when this field is 1, this is what I am using for making analysis. These are the real valid cases for CUCO. When I have 2, it means that possibly there is another record that corresponds to the very same case, but I am not sure. If I was sure, I merge both cases in just one record, but when I am not sure, I keep it as a separate record and mark this with 2. 3 is just temporal marking, something to be worked on. 4 means UFO case. Really, this shouldn't be here, but sometimes it's interesting. For example, when a bolide or a satellite re-entry is seen from many different places, sometimes I have included this, even if nobody has said this was a UFO, because sometimes in the future, maybe I find someone that says, I have seen an UFO this day. And in that case, it simplifies its identification. 5 means a clearly duplicated case, but with completely different coordinates in time or space. And 7 are miscellaneous cases, miscellaneous contents that are not really UFO cases according to the criteria. What is this criteria? We consider, or CUCO considers as an UFO case, any account or report that has been qualified as such, or with similar terms such as flying saucer, UAP, or to which an extraterrestrial and intelligent origin has been attributed at some time after the immediate observation, either by the witnesses or by others, such as the media. Well, this is the definition I think will cover the contents of the source catalogs, just leaving outside very, very specific things. Therefore, CUCO collects testimonials or strange lights or objects in the sky, on the ground, or in the aquatic environment, encounters with strange beings, such as bedroom visitors or lone humanoids, records by any technical means, I mean photographs, filmings, or the like, that supposedly record events from the previous categories, even if there has been no direct visual observation, and also strange traces on the ground. But I want to remind, collects all of this if the previous condition, I mean, has been associated with extraterrestrial beings or UFOs or something like that. If not, they are not included in UFO. So testimonies about strange events like Marian apparitions, angels apparitions, mythological beings, elementals, dwarfs, ghosts, and all these type of things are not included. But if they have came out from a flying saucer, of course they are included. Or if someone says, okay, this, for example, Fatima apparition was specifically a UFO case, okay, so in that case, you will find it at the catalog. Of course, fireballs, satellites, or other conventional stimuli not labeled at any moment as unidentified are not included. Crop circles are outside the scope of the catalog, and also animal mutilations are mysterious disappearances, and probably more things that my imagination at this very moment cannot remember, but because this is there are plenty, there are plenty of things that have been associated with UFOs. Another important thing is because there are several differences depending on the catalogs. For CUCO, several witnesses seeing the same stimulus, even if they are very separated geographically, are a single case. And on the other side, if a witness says that he has had multiple sightings at different places and times, everyone is a different case. Okay, this is what you can find in CUCO and what were my criteria and the structure that I have used to group all them. So this was till 2005. And what happens since 2005, this was the time with CATIB was merged. So we have at this moment a quite large catalog. Till today, CUCO continues growing by two different ways, merging new catalogs. Every new catalog means that a structure should be redefined and their cases merged and consolidated. And this is made practically in a manual way. And another way is adding directly individual records not included previously in any source catalog. In that case, it's just much more simple. And also, in this case, all data fields are filled in. So here we have more complete information. And what's the use of this? Sometimes I hear that people say that catalogs have no use. I think that for you, if you are here, I have the expectation that perhaps for you have some use, but these are, from my point of view, their utility. First of all, it is a database for statistical analysis of all kinds, but I recommend to use only the case that has a status equal to 1, because in another, if you do not make this way, you will have repeated cases in your database. Secondly, I would like this to be a directory for locating sources of information on specific cases, a place where you can go and look for more information into a case that you want to know more, and more specifically, to know if some explanation has been proposed or has been suggested for it, and who were their authors. I am, frankly speaking, I am fed up with reading in publications and in books again and again the very same case that was properly explained a lot of years ago, and that everybody, well, I mean, everybody who is well informed knows, but all the new people that get closer to the UFO study do not know, and will take some time. Sometimes means perhaps several years to learn. Okay, CUCO does not want to take side. I have my sides, of course, and you will have yours, but this wants to be neutral and just to say, okay, do you know that some person proposed this was a bolide, it was a re-entry, it was a missile? Okay, whatever. And you can judge for yourself. I do not want to convince you of anything. With CUCO, in a different situation, I will, but not here. And also, for a specific case, you can find it at the same place or nearby or in the same date. Another case happened, similar one, and this also can facilitate the identification of new cases. Now this part is perhaps more interesting. What are the results of what we have till now? Well, at this very moment, we have more than 12,000 records obtained from 28 different catalogs that were at the beginning practically twice the number of records that it has now. And roughly 10,000, almost 10,000 corresponds to different cases. And that are the ones that I have used for making all the statistics that comes on now. As you can see, most of them happen in Spain, more than 9,300, and only 500 in Portugal. And well, Andorra is very small, with only 14 cases. So before anybody tells me, I know. Deficiencies, Portuguese cases are underrepresented, and you will see that also 21st century cases are also underrepresented. Why? Because most catalogs were from the early ages, I mean from the past century. That's also something very important to stress and to make clear. IFOs represent 25% in Spain. Of course, the real number is much, much, much higher. The rest of these are not good cases. By good, I mean strange and credible cases. Most of them are cases without information or without a deep research. So this is the reason for 75% of UFOs. Understand UFOs are something that has not been assigned an explanation yet. Well, what are the explanations for the ones that we have? Well, practically 1/3 are stars and planets. I mean, bodies outside the atmosphere, natural bodies outside the atmosphere. Practically another 1/3 are artificial objects, satellites, aircrafts, and the like. And the remaining 1/3 are natural phenomena, probably linings, ball linings too, visual optical phenomena, and so 17% combining fraud and psychological explanation, and the rest are, well, something not very important statistically, like biological, so birds and similar things. Regarding the evolution during the time, well, in blue you have the yearly statistic for Spain, in red for Portugal. As you can see, practically since 1982, practically no UFOs has been seen in Portugal. Of course, this is not true. And in Spain, this is, I think, is quite a good picture of reality, at least till 2010. So we have our first UFO wave at 1950, the most important one in 1968, 1969, then 1974. During the 70s, there was a high level anyway, till 1980. And after that, a big fall in the number of cases, 1981. Perhaps the latest big wave was in 1996. And another one, I think, is in 2011, but not so big. In Portugal, sorry, I will not comment because I am not sure that this is realistic. When you have the picture by months, okay, you will see more or less the same, but it's interesting to see that, for example, the first UFO wave in 1950 was very concentrated in time. So it is higher when you measure month by month. And you will have peaks of UFO activity, whatever this means. Probably what the meaning is that people was interested in UFOs and saw things and misinterpret them. It's about 100 cases by month. Portugal, well, this is something that probably is relevant. In 1977, I seem to remember, Regarding the hourly distribution, okay, Julio Plaza may give us a good lesson regarding this. He used CUCO data for making a very interesting study. Well, what you can see here is that the peak is during 10 o'clock, not o'clock, during 10 p.m. was the maximum, and of course, minimum during daylight. And regarding the geographical distribution, I also want to thank Julio Plaza, who provides me with a lot of information regarding geographical coordinates of the cases. Not all of them are here included, but a good quantity of them. You can see that most concentrated ones are around the most populated cities in Spain: Madrid, Barcelona, and Sevilla. That I think deserves a little bit more explanation, but not here. And now the question is there any way to make this information more attractive? So, well, this is something that I have tried, is integrating CUCO with my maps of Google Maps. And now, this is just practically the last part of my presentation, is a little film. It's just 1 minute film with 75 years of UFOs in Spain and Portugal. So enjoy the movie. The flap of 1950. '68, '69, the '70s, and the fall of the interstellar empire. 1995, the last year with some level of activity. Well, and what for the future? First of all, I would like to disseminate this information, specifically the database contents, but that requires an agreement between many persons. So it's something that we have preferred to leave for tomorrow. And the only thing that we have made publicly available are the results, anyway, limitedly. Also, the development of new displaying tools to make data analysis. And I would like to make use of the new artificial intelligence tools for extracting new cases and data from digital publications. And of course, I will be very glad to collaborate with other database projects you will have in your mind. For finishing, I was awarded in November 2003 with the Gemini Prize by the Anomaly Foundation as coordinator of the project. But of course, a lot of persons and institutions contributed to its development. There are many more than this. I want here to just to mention probably the most active ones, which of course, Vicente Juan Ballester, Ignacio Cabria, Juan Antonio Fernández, Juan Carlos Victorio, José Antonio Cezón, Julio Plaza, Martí Flo from the CEI, the patrons of the Anomaly Foundation, and of course, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Of course, all the owners of the catalogs merged into CUCO. And okay, here you have my email, well, the email of the project, and I will be glad to receive your questions, your suggestions, or whatever you like. Thank you very much for the opportunity of explaining this project, and if you have any question, I'll try my best.